A week before my husband's birthday, he told me calmly, "No party this year, Martha. I'm getting too old for that stuff." But that same afternoon, while picking up his suit coat from the dry cleaners, I found a reservation in the pocket for the most expensive restaurant in Portland. A table for 5. The date was his birthday, and it was paid for with my credit card. My name was nowhere on it. That's when I knew my husband of 25 years had erased me from his own celebration. But before we get into the story, please support me by hitting the like button and subscribing right now. I also want to say hello to all of you. Leave me your name, your city, and ideas for future stories in the comments. Thank you. My name is Martha Ramsey. I'm 68 years old, and my whole life I've been what they call a good wife. I worked for 40 years as an accountant for a construction firm. I retired 3 years ago with a modest but respectable pension. My husband, Rick, is 70 and worked in sales until his retirement. We live in a 2-story house in a quiet Portland suburb where everyone knows each other. A house I bought with my savings 20 years ago when Rick lost his job and we went 6 months without his income. But nobody remembers that. Especially not his family. That Tuesday afternoon, when I found that folded piece of paper in his suit pocket, I stood frozen in the middle of the dry cleaners, unable to breathe. My hands trembled as I read and reread the printed words. The Hawthorne Grill. Date, November 18th. Time, 8 p.m. Party of 5. Reservation under. Rick Gomez. Deposit paid, $850. From my card, the card he'd asked me to add him to as an authorized user years ago for family emergencies. With trembling fingers, I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. There it was, the charge made 3 days earlier. The memo line read, "Deposit for banquet, special menu for 5. 5 people." I sat down on the living room sofa, the paper still in my hand. My heart was beating so hard I could feel it in my throat. Who were these 5 people, and why wasn't I invited to my own husband's birthday? The answer came quickly. Far too quickly. Rick himself. 1. His mother, Connie. 2. His sister, Veronica. 3. His nephew, Oscar, Veronica's son. 4. His Aunt Harriet, Connie's sister. 5. His entire family. An elegant dinner at the most expensive restaurant in the city. With my money. Without me. I got up and walked to the window. Outside, the November afternoon was gray. The maple trees in the yard had lost nearly all their red and gold leaves. The sky threatened rain. No party this year, Martha. The lie was so blatant, it was almost laughable. Almost. For 25 years of marriage, I had organized every single one of his birthday parties. I bought the cake, decorated the house, cooked for 20 people, cleaned before and after, and he would sit at the head of the table receiving congratulations while his mother told me the pot roast was too dry or that the house needed more flowers. 25 years. And now, when he finally decided to celebrate at a restaurant where I wouldn't have to cook or clean, he excluded me completely. I put the paper in my purse. Rick didn't know I had found it. He would come home that night expecting everything to be normal. For me to continue being the invisible wife who cooked, cleaned, and paid without asking questions. But something inside me had shattered. It wasn't dramatic. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. It simply broke, like an old plate that falls and can't be fixed. I sat down again and dialed a number I hadn't used in months. My friend Beatrice, the only person in the world who knew the real me, not just Rick's wife. "Martha? What happened? Your voice sounds strange." "Beatrice, I need your help. Something very important." "Can you come over tomorrow?" "Of course. Are you okay?" "Yes. Better than ever. I'll explain tomorrow." I hung up before she could ask more questions. At 7 p.m., Rick arrived. He came in whistling, as always. He took off his shoes at the door. "What's for dinner, Marty?" I made chicken soup. "Perfect. I'm starving." He sat at the table while I served him. He ate with gusto, making noises of satisfaction. Afterward, he went to the living room to watch the news. A normal, ordinary night, like the last 9,125 nights of our marriage. But in my head, everything had changed. I washed the dishes thinking about that piece of paper, thinking about the 5 people who would dine without me, thinking about the $850 of my money, and thinking about what I was going to do about it. Because if Rick thought I was going to remain the submissive wife who put up with everything, he was dead wrong. That night was going to be unforgettable, I promised. Just not in the way he expected. The next day, Beatrice arrived at my house at 10 a.m. Rick had left early to run some errands. I knew he was probably with his mother, planning the details of the dinner. I poured her coffee and showed her the paper. I can't believe this. Beatrice read it 3 times. And he told you he didn't want a party. Exactly. He lied. To my face. Martha, this is... She searched for words. I know. She looked at me, her brown eyes full of concern. What are you going to do? I'm not sure yet. But I need you to help me with something. I explained my initial plan. As I spoke, I saw her eyes widen. Are you sure? She asked when I finished. Completely. But Martha, this is going to cause a huge scene. I certainly hope so, Beatrice. I've been invisible in my own marriage for 25 years. It's time they saw me. I let my words sink in. Beatrice had known me for 30 years. She knew what my life was like with Rick and his family. Friends, I post new stories every day, but YouTube will only show them to you if you click that red subscribe button. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll never miss a story. Thank you. My marriage to Rick started out well. We met in 1998 at a party hosted by a mutual friend. He was an insurance salesman, 45 years old, and recently divorced. I was 43 and had never married, completely dedicated to my career. Rick was charming, attentive, brought me flowers, and called me every day. He proposed in 6 months. My mom, God rest her soul, warned me, honey, find out why he got divorced. Men that age aren't single for no reason. But I was in love, or what I thought was love at 43 after a lifetime of being alone. We got married in a simple ceremony. I bought my own dress, paid for the small reception for 30 people, and paid for our honeymoon to Key West. Why? Because Rick was between jobs. He had just left his previous employer over differences with his boss. The money from his divorce settlement had been used up in legal fees. Red flags. They were all red flags, but I didn't see them, or didn't want to. The first few years were normal. Rick got a job with another insurance company. I continued my work as an accountant. We split the bills, I paid a bit more, but it seemed fair since I earned more. His family appeared in our lives gradually. First was his mother, Connie, an 5-year-old widow who lived alone in a small house in another part of town. Marty, my mom's really lonely. Can we have her over for dinner on Sundays? Of course, Sundays became my weekly nightmare. Connie would arrive at 2 p.m. I would cook. She would criticize. The rice is too mushy. The meat is too dry. I used to do this differently at my house. Rick never contradicted her, just ate in silence. Then came his sister, Veronica, divorced with a 15-year-old son. She's going through a tough time, Rick explained. Can we help her out? Helping her out meant lending her $2,000 that she never paid back. It meant her son, Oscar, coming to stay for a few days that turned into 3 months while Veronica got her situation sorted out, and Aunt Harriet, Connie's sister, an 80-year-old woman with an opinion on everything, especially me. Rick deserves a wife who takes better care of him. A house should be spotless. Why don't you have children? Must be Martha's problem. Every family gathering was a trial where I was the defendant and they were the jury. And Rick? Rick never defended me. Don't pay them any mind, Marty. That's just how old ladies are. But Rick, your aunt said, just ignore it. What's for dinner? For years, I thought the problem was me. That I had to try harder, cook better, clean more, be more patient. I worked 8 hours a day, came home, cooked, cleaned. On weekends, I did laundry, ironed, grocery shopped. And Rick? Rick watched TV. I'm tired from work, Marty. I was tired too, but nobody ever asked. 3 years ago, I retired. I thought we'd finally have time together. Travel, go for walks, enjoy what we'd worked for. But Rick retired 6 months later, and things got worse. He was home all the time, expecting me to serve him, wash his clothes, run his errands. His family's visits intensified. Connie came over 2 or 3 times a week. Veronica would drop by and stay for hours. Aunt Harriet would call to offer her opinions on our lives. And the money. There was never enough money. Marty, my mom needs money for her prescriptions. Marty, Veronica's having trouble with her rent. Marty, Oscar needs money for college. My pension was being drained to support his entire family while they treated me like the hired help. And Rick? Rick had become invisible in our relationship. We didn't talk, we didn't go out. We shared nothing beyond the daily routine. We were two strangers living under the same roof. But I stayed, putting up with it, waiting. Waiting for what? I didn't know. Until I found that paper in his pocket, and I understood. He was never going to change. He was never going to value me. To him and his family, I was only useful. Not loved. Useful. Beatrice finished her coffee and looked at me. When do you want to do this? November 18th. His birthday. Are you absolutely sure? I nodded. Beatrice, for the first time in 25 years, I'm absolutely sure of something. The next few days were strange. I knew the truth. Rick didn't know that I knew. It was like living in two parallel realities. He kept up his act. No party this year? Marty, we'll just have a quiet night at home. I would nod. Whatever you want, Rick. Inside, every lie he told was another nail in the coffin. On Monday, a week before his birthday, I called the Hawthorne Grill. Good morning. This is Martha Gomez. I'm calling about a reservation under the name Rick Gomez for the 18th. One moment, ma'am. Yes, I have it here. Table for 5 at 8 p.m. That's the one. I need to make a change to the reservation. What do you need to change? The number of people. There will be 6 of us now. Not a problem. Any change to the menu? No. Everything else is the same. Just one more person. Perfect. The additional cost will be $150. Would you like me to charge that to the card on file for the deposit? Yes, please do. I hung up with a smile. I would be at that dinner too. They just wouldn't know it until the last minute. On Tuesday, Rick left early. Going to have breakfast with Veronica, he said. To plan the party, I thought. But I only said, have a good time. As soon as he was gone, I called my lawyer, Monica Herrera, a sharp, no-nonsense woman in her 50s. Martha, what can I do for you? I need to know my rights regarding the house, our pensions, everything. There was a silence. Are you thinking about divorce? Tell me everything. I told her. The lie, the dinner, the 25 years of being invisible, the constant spending on his family while they treated me poorly. Martha, the house is in your name, correct? Yes. I bought it myself 20 years ago. Then it's yours. He has no claim on it. Your pensions remain your own. If there are no shared assets, the divorce is relatively simple. How long does it take? 6 months if he doesn't fight it. A year if he does. Get the papers ready. I'll need them after the 18th. Are you sure? Completely. On Wednesday, Beatrice and I met to finalize the details. The restaurant knows there will be 6 of us. I'm going to arrive at 8:15, after they're all seated. And what are you going to do? Sit down, order my dinner, and tell them exactly what I think. Martha, it's going to be an awful scene. Good. Let it be. If you want to know how this story ends and hear many more, hit the red subscribe button. It's free and helps me out a lot. Thank you. On Thursday, 5 days before, Rick surprised me. Marty, you know how I said I wanted a quiet birthday? My heart skipped a beat. Is he going to confess? Yes, I remember. Well, I was thinking maybe you and I could go out to dinner. Just the two of us. Something simple. What do you think? A lie on top of a lie. That sounds nice, I replied calmly. Really? He looked surprised I agreed so easily. Yes. Where do you want to go? I don't know. I'll figure something out. I'll let you know. Of course. He had no plans to take me anywhere. He was just covering his tracks in case I asked why he was going out that night. On Friday, 4 days before, I got a text message from an unknown number. Mrs. Ramsey, this is Veronica. Could you possibly lend Rick $500? It's urgent. Oscar needs it for school. I read the message 3 times. Rick's sister, who had never sent me a single text in 25 years, was now asking me for money. Why me, and not him? Because he's already maxed out, I thought. He spent it all on the dinner and now he's using me for more. I didn't reply. On Saturday, 3 days before, Rick was nervous. Is something wrong? I asked during lunch. No, nothing. Just thinking about work stuff. You know, you're retired, Rick. Yeah, but you know, a man always thinks. He was lying, and I could see it clear as day. That night, after he was asleep, I checked his phone. It wasn't hard. He'd used the same passcode for years. 1985, the year his son from his first marriage was born. I opened his messages. A group chat. Rick's B-Day. The messages broke what was left of my heart. Connie. Is everything set? The 18th at 8. Hawthorne Grill. So elegant. Veronica. Just confirmed with Oscar. He'll be dressed nicely. Is anyone bringing a gift? Aunt Harriet. I'm bringing a bottle of expensive wine. Only the best for my favorite nephew. Rick. Thanks, family. Love you all. It's going to be a special night. Veronica. What about Martha? Rick. I told her no party this year. She doesn't suspect a thing. We'll finally be able to celebrate in peace without her long face and complaining. Connie. Oh, honey, that's wonderful. That woman always ruins gatherings with her attitude. Aunt Harriet. I never understood why you married her. So quiet and boring. Rick. I know, Auntie, but well, that's life. I closed the phone. My hands were shaking with rage. They didn't just exclude me. They hated me. And Rick let them talk about me like that. Or worse, he agreed. 25 years. 25 years of giving them everything. And this is how they saw me, but not anymore. On Sunday, 2 days before, I acted perfectly normal. I made Rick's favorite breakfast. Eggs over easy with bacon. Marty, are you okay? You seem different. Different how? I don't know. Calmer. I'm fine, Rick. Very fine. And it was true. I was calm because I knew exactly what I was going to do. On Monday, the day before the big day, Beatrice came over while Rick was out. Ready for tomorrow? More than ready. Martha. You can still back out. I'm not backing out. Tomorrow, Rick and his family are going to understand that Martha Ramsey is not invisible. And after that, I start my real life, the one I should have started 25 years ago. November 18th dawned sunny and clear, a perfect day for a birthday, or for the end of a marriage. I got up early, as always. I made breakfast. Rick came down in a good mood, whistling. Morning, Marty. Beautiful day, isn't it? Yes, very beautiful. Oh. Hey. I just remembered I have one of those boring retiree association meetings tonight. I'm going to be late. How late? Like 11 p.m. Don't wait up for me. I nodded as I poured his coffee. Lie number 1000. Okay. Have a good meeting. He left at 5 p.m. I have to stop by and pick up my mom first, he said. The second the door closed, I went up to my room and opened the closet. For days, I had been planning my outfit. I chose a navy blue dress I had bought last year and never worn. Rick had said it was too elegant for a woman my age. That's exactly why I chose it. I did my hair, put on makeup for the first time in months, and wore the pearl earrings my mother had left me. I looked in the mirror. The woman looking back wasn't the tired, drab Martha of every other day. This was someone different. Someone with dignity. At 7:30, Beatrice picked me up. "Wow, Martha. You look beautiful. Thanks. Ready for this?" "Ready. Though I still think you're crazy." "Probably. But it's my kind of crazy." We arrived at the Hawthorne Grill at 8:10. It was a beautiful place, with illuminated gardens, stone fountains, and elegant tables with white tablecloths. "Ma'am, do you have a reservation?" the host asked. "Yes, for Rick Gomez's table." "I'm the 6th person." He checked his list, frowning. "It says here it's a party of 5. "Ma'am, I made a change. I called on Monday. We're 6 now." "You can check." He made a quick call, then nodded. "You're right, ma'am. I apologize. This way, please." Beatrice squeezed my hand. "You can still leave." "Nope. I've come this far." We walked between the tables. The restaurant was full, with soft piano music playing, elegant people dining. Everything was perfect. And then I saw them. At a table in the back, near the windows overlooking the garden, the 5 of them. Rick at the head of the table, wearing a gray suit I'd given him for Christmas, smiling. Connie to his right, in her usual dark blue dress and fake pearl earrings. Veronica to his left, wearing red, with too much makeup. Oscar next to his mother, looking bored at his phone. And Aunt Harriet next to Connie, with her purple-tinted perm and thick glasses. They were all laughing, toasting with glasses of sparkling wine. Happy. A beautiful family scene. Without me, the waiter led us right to their table. "Excuse me. Here is the 6th person for your reservation." The silence was instantaneous. 5 pairs of eyes stared at me. 5 mouths dropped open. 5 faces went from joy to absolute shock. If you enjoyed this story, click subscribe and tell me in the comments which part impressed you the most. Did the husband deserve forgiveness? Tell me yes or no below. More stories tomorrow. See you there. "Good evening, family," I said in a calm voice. "Happy birthday, Rick." I sat down in the empty chair the waiter had brought over. Beatrice sat beside me. "Martha." Rick's voice was a strangled whisper. "What? What are you doing here?" "I came to my husband's birthday party. Isn't that obvious? But I told you that there wouldn't be a party." "Yes, you did say that. Funny, isn't it? Because this looks a lot like a party." Connie found her voice first. "Rick, what is the meaning of this? Why is she here?" "I'm here, Connie, because the reservation was paid for with my credit card. $850 for the deposit, plus another $150 I paid on Monday to add my seat. Total, $1,000. My money, my party." "Oh no." Veronica turned red. "How dare you show up where you weren't invited?" "I wasn't invited?" I pulled the paper from my purse and placed it on the table. "Here's the original reservation. 5 people. Rick Gomez, Connie Gomez, Veronica Santos, Oscar Santos, Harriet Cruz, all of you. But my name is missing. Strange for my own husband's birthday party? Don't you think?" Rick tried to grab the paper. I pulled it away. "Martha, this is a misunderstanding. I was going to..." "Going to what, Rick? Invite me later? Tell me the truth?" "Which truth?" "Because for days I've been reading the messages in the family group chat where all of you planned this special night without Martha and her long face." Connie choked on her wine. "You went through my son's phone? That's an invasion of privacy. And excluding me from his birthday after stealing my money is a lack of respect." But here we are. Aunt Harriet stood up, indignant. "I am not going to sit here and listen to this. Rick, let's go." "Sit down, Harriet." My voice cut through the air. "Because I'm not finished yet." Something in my tone made her sit. I looked at each of them slowly, letting the silence build. 25 years, I began. 25 years of being the perfect wife, the submissive daughter-in-law, the convenient aunt, the one who cooks, the one who cleans, the one who pays and keeps her mouth shut. Martha, please, Rick tried to interrupt. Quiet. Now you're going to listen. I had never seen him so pale. 25 years of you all coming into my house because yes, it is my house. I bought it. I paid every single cent. Rick didn't contribute a dime. That's not Veronica started. Isn't it true, Rick? Tell them. Tell them how you lost your job 20 years ago and I paid for everything for 6 months. The mortgage, the food, the utilities, everything. Rick stared at his plate. 25 years of paying for Connie's prescriptions, for Veronica's loans that were never repaid, for Oscar's college expenses. Do you know how much I've spent on this family in the last 5 years alone? I pulled out another piece of paper from my purse, a statement I had prepared. $28,000 on medicine, loans, gifts, emergencies. Over $25,000 from my pension. While you all treated me like a servant, the waiter approached nervously. Ma'am, would you like to order? Yes. Bring me the most expensive steak you have, and a glass of your best red wine. Put it all on the same bill. Right away, ma'am. When he left, I continued. You know what hurts the most? It's not the money. It's that never, not once in 25 years, did any of you say thank you. You never asked how I was. You never defended me when you criticized me. Not even you, Rick. My voice broke slightly. When your mother said my food was bad. When your sister said my house was dirty. When your aunt said I wasn't good enough for you, you just stayed silent. Or worse, you laughed along with them. I never Rick started. Yes. You did. And you know it. Connie slammed her hand on the table. I will not allow you to speak to my son like that. Your son is a 70-year old man who just lied to my face. Your son stole my money to throw this party without me. Your son erased me from his life as if I didn't matter. I stood up. Everyone looked at me. So, here's what's going to happen. I am going to have my dinner. They will bring my food. And you are all going to sit here while I enjoy the meal I paid for. And then, I'm going to leave. And tomorrow, Rick, you will be served with divorce papers. The shock on his face was total. Divorce? Yes, I've already spoken with my lawyer. The house is mine. Our pensions are our own. There are no shared assets. In 6 months, you'll be free to have all the parties you want without me. Martha, you can't. Veronica tried to speak. Yes, I can. And I am. My food arrived. A perfect medium-rare filet mignon, with truffled mashed potatoes and buttered asparagus. A glass of wine that cost $30. I ate slowly, savoring every bite, ignoring their stares, the tense silence. They didn't touch their food. When I finished, I wiped my mouth with the napkin. I stood up. Thank you for this very enlightening dinner. Rick, the papers will arrive on Monday. Family, it's been a real pleasure all these years. But it's over. Martha, wait. Rick stood up. We can talk about this. We've already talked. For 25 years. I talked. You didn't listen. Now, it's too late. Beatrice stood up with me. By the way, I added before leaving, the entire check is going on the card you used for the deposit. My card. So this dinner is going to cost me about $1,500 in total. But you know what, Rick? It's worth every penny. Because this is the last time I pay for anything for you or your family. I walked towards the exit with my head held high. Behind me, I heard the chaos erupt, shouting, accusations, Connie's voice wailing. But I didn't look back. I had waited 25 years for this moment. And it was glorious. Beatrice drove me back to my house. Neither of us said anything on the way. Only when she parked in front of my door did she speak. Martha, Are you okay? Yes. For the first time in years, I'm okay. Are you sure? Because what you just did, I had to do it. I couldn't live like that anymore. She hugged me. You're the bravest woman I know, or the craziest. Maybe both. Do you want me to stay with you tonight? No. I need to be alone. To think. Call me if you need me. Anytime. I went into my house and turned on the lights. Everything was exactly as I'd left it, but it felt different. It was my house. Truly mine. I went to my room, took off the blue dress, the pearl earrings, the makeup. I put on my comfortable pajamas and sat on the bed. My phone started ringing. Rick. I didn't answer. It kept ringing. Veronica. Connie. Unknown numbers. I ignored them all. Finally, a text from Rick arrived. Martha. Please. We have to talk. Don't do this. We can fix it. I swear. Give me a chance. I didn't reply. Another text. You're right. I messed up. Really bad. But you don't throw 25 years in the trash. Think about it. 25 years in the trash. I wasn't the one throwing them away. He had done that a long time ago. One more message. My mom is very upset. She had a panic attack. Veronica says you're a monster. Aunt Harriet says she's cutting us out of her will because of you. Do you see what you've caused? I read that message 3 times and laughed. A bitter, but liberating laugh. Even now, it was all my fault. Not his lie. Not his betrayal. Not his disrespect. My fault. For not putting up with it anymore. I wrote a single reply. Do not contact me again. Speak to my lawyer. Her name is Monica Herrera. I'm sending you her number. Everything goes through her from now on. Goodbye, Rick. I blocked his number and all of his family's numbers. I lay down. I expected to feel sadness, guilt, regret, but all I felt was peace. The next morning, Saturday, I woke up late, at 10 a.m. I hadn't slept that long in years. I went down to the kitchen. I made coffee just for me, not for Rick. I ate breakfast in silence, without being rushed, without anyone criticizing anything. At 11, the doorbell rang. Insistently. I looked through the peephole. It was Veronica, with Connie in tow. I didn't open the door. Martha, we know you're in there. Open the door. I remained silent. You can't just destroy this family. Rick is devastated. His mother is sick. All because of your selfishness. My selfishness. Of course. They rang for another 10 minutes, then finally left. On Monday, I went to Monica's office. How are you feeling? She asked. Surprisingly good. Good, because I have news. Rick called me yesterday. He wants to negotiate. There's nothing to negotiate. That's what I told him. But he insists on you giving him another chance. He says he'll change. He's 70 years old. He's not going to change. And I don't want him to change. I want him to leave. Monica nodded. Perfect. Then I'll proceed with everything. When do you want him out of the house? Now. Give him 72 hours to pack his things. Done. I left the office feeling lighter. In 3 days, Rick would be gone, and my new life would begin. That afternoon, my phone rang. An unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Martha? It was a woman's voice I didn't recognize. Yes. Who is this? It's Clara. Rick's ex-wife. I was speechless. I know it's strange for me to call, but I heard about what happened. Veronica can't keep her mouth shut, and I needed to talk to you, to tell you that you did the right thing. The absolute right thing. How did you get my number? I have my ways. Look, Martha, I was married to Rick for 8 years. I divorced him 28 years ago, and I know exactly what you went through. You do? Yes. The controlling family, the lies, the disappearing money, the complete invisibility. That's why I divorced him. Did you ever regret it? She laughed. On the contrary, it was the best decision of my life. Rick will never change, And neither will his family. They are who they are. Toxic. Manipulative. Why are you calling me now? Because I know what's coming. They're going to try to make you feel guilty. They'll say you're a bad person. Selfish. That you destroyed the family. Don't you believe it? You didn't destroy anything. They destroyed it years ago. Her words were like a bomb. Thank you, Clara. I needed to hear that. Stay strong. It's worth it. I promise. We hung up, and I felt validated. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't a bad person. I was just defending myself. On Wednesday, the time came. Monica went to the house with a court officer. They gave Rick the ultimatum: 72 hours to pack and leave. I wasn't there. I stayed in a hotel for those 3 days. I didn't want to see his face. On Saturday, Monica called me. He's gone. The house is empty. Well, empty of him. How did it go? He cried. He begged. He said it was unfair. But in the end, he packed his things and left. I think he's living with his mother. Perfect. Let Connie take care of him now. I returned to my house that same day. I walked through every room. Rick had left some of the furniture, the living room set, his desk, but his clothes, his papers, his personal effects were all gone. The house felt bigger, cleaner, more mine. That night, I had Beatrice over for dinner. "How are you feeling?" she asked as we ate pizza. I ordered something Rick hated, free. Scared. Excited. All at once. So, what's next? I don't know. And that's the exciting part. For the first time in 25 years, I get to decide what to do with my life. We toasted with wine, not the expensive kind from the restaurant, just regular wine from the store, but it tasted like victory. 6 months after that night at the restaurant, my life was completely different. The divorce was finalized in April. Rick didn't put up a fight. I think he finally understood he had lost everything because of his lies. The house was still mine. My pension was still mine. And for the first time in decades, all my money was for me. I did things I'd never done. I painted the walls, colors I liked. Rick always wanted everything white. Now my living room is peach. My bedroom sky blue. I bought new furniture, comfortable, beautiful, mine. I adopted a puppy, a miniature schnauzer I named Luna. Rick was allergic to dogs, or so he said. Now I suspect he just didn't want the responsibility. Luna sleeps on my bed, keeps me company, and makes me laugh. She's the best decision I've made. I signed up for dance classes, ballroom dancing. I'd always wanted to learn. I met a group of women my age, and we became friends. We go out for breakfast after class. One of them, Rosario, is also divorced. The best years of my life started after the divorce, she told me. You'll see. And she's right. I also started therapy. Monica recommended it. Martha, 25 years of emotional abuse doesn't just disappear. Talk to someone. My therapist, Dr. Letitia, helped me understand so much. You weren't weak, she told me in one session. You were conditioned. They slowly taught you that your value depended on serving others. But that wasn't love. It was control. I cried a lot in those sessions, but they were healing tears. I know very little about Rick. Beatrice told me he's still living with his mother, that Veronica visits sometimes, that he's bitter and blames everyone but himself. I don't care. That chapter of my life is closed. What I care about is what's next. And there's a lot. I plan to travel. I want to see the national parks in Utah. I've always dreamed of seeing those red rock canyons. Now I can. I'm thinking of getting another dog. Or maybe a cat. I haven't decided. Beatrice and I go to the movies every week. We see the movies we want to see, eat popcorn, laugh, and live. Sometimes, very rarely, I think about that night on November 18th. About how I walked into that restaurant, sat at that table, and said everything I had kept silent for 25 years. And I feel proud of that Martha. The brave Martha who said, enough, because that's what I did. I said enough, and it changed everything. Was it easy? No. The first few months were hard. I cried. I had doubts. I wondered if I'd done the right thing. But every day that passed in my house, without Rick, without his family, without the criticism and lies, I became more convinced. I did the right thing. I'm 68 years old. I may not have that many years left, but the ones I do have are going to be mine. Lived how I want, with whom I choose, doing what makes me happy. And if there's one thing I learned from all of this, it's that it's never too late to start over. It's never too late to say, this isn't what I deserve. It's never too late to choose yourself. That night at the restaurant, Rick said it would be a special night. And he was right. It was special. But not for him. It was special for me. Because it was the night I stopped being invisible. The night I got my voice back. My dignity. My life. And you know the most ironic part? Rick wanted to celebrate his birthday without me, and he ended up giving me the best gift of my life. My freedom. So, thank you, Rick. Thank you for that dinner. Thank you for that lie. Thank you for showing me I didn't need you anymore. Because now, finally, I am happy. And that happiness is all mine.